Alright, it's going to be part 3 of the campaign series for the multiplayer zombie survival template. What we're going to be working on this time is trying to finish up the save and load system and implement it into our level selection screen inside the lobby. So let me just hop right into it and I'll show you. If we're in the lobby, it will greet us with the current level that we're on. So in this example I'm showing you, instead of just always starting on level 1 or chapter 1, we're starting on chapter 2 because this is where we left off. So if you go to change level, you'll see we can pick from the levels that you have unlocked, but you can't pick the levels you haven't got to yet. So we have to beat level 2 to get to level 3. And then you can select them. So let me show you, if you right click on anything in your project, it can be anything in the content browser, you can show and explore, and it'll take you to your actual folder where your project is. And what you want to do is just go back to where the root folder of your project, and you can go into the saved folder and you can go into saved games, and you'll see that we have our campaign save file. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this just to show you. So now we don't have a game save, right? So this would be what would happen if you booted up your game for the first time. You would hit play. See, we're on chapter 1 now in the bottom left. And if you click on change level, we can't pick on chapter 2 or chapter 3 because we haven't beat chapter 1 yet. So that's the only level that's available. So if we hop into, for an example, chapter 1, arena 1, and we go up to our win game trigger, we win, we beat level 1, yay. Now we're going into chapter 2. We just beat it took us to chapter 2. Now if we go back to the lobby and I hit play, you'll see it saved it. We're in chapter 2, and we come into here. You can pick level 1 if you want to replay it, and you have chapter 2 if you want to continue on and try to beat it to get to 3. I'm going to show you how to do that in this tutorial. So I just wanted to show you that right off the bat before we got into it. So we're going to need to start off by adding a few things. So let's go to HGT, let's go to Blueprints, and let's go to our campaign folder. First, let's right click and create a blueprint structure, which is right here. And I'm going to call it campaign levels struct. Open it up, click on the add variable button, click it twice. We need 2 variables. First variable, I'm going to call it level name, and it's set to type text. Second variable is called level image, and it's a texture 2D. Save it, close it, and now we want to right click in our content browser and go to miscellaneous and data table. I'm going to call it campaign levels underscore data table. Open up our data table, click on the add button up here. I click it for the amount of levels that you have is how many rows you need. So I have 3 levels, so I click the button 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and you have to double click on the row name and manually type in the name of the row, or manually type in the name of your level. I know it's a pain, but that's just how we got to do it. So in my case, my level is called Arena 01. Make sure you type it exactly the same. And for my row number 2, Arena 02. For my third level, Arena 03. And so you have to manually type those in. And then, but once you have that done, you can click on these rows and you can come down here and change the level name. So this is what actually gets displayed. So instead of being called Arena 01, I'm going to call this Chapter 1. And this is where you actually set the image for your level image. So I set this to the Arena 1 image. And this is just like an all-in-one place to contain and store all of your levels, and you make sure they're in the correct order, like 1, 2, and 3. Don't have level 3 up here, and you could click these little dots on the side and drag them up and down to reorganize your rows. But make sure you have them chapter 1, 2, 3, like have them in the correct order. We're going to need that for later when we get to that. So yeah, so like later in in your game, let's say down the road you want to add more levels, you just come up here, click the add button, it'll add you a new row, and then you just fill in chapter 4 and add in an image for chapter 4. It's that easy. So now that you have that data table done, you can save it, you can close it, and we're going to have to hop into, let's see, the campaign function library that we were working on earlier that we created in part 2, I believe. So you should have a load campaign level and a save campaign. We're going to make a new function by clicking this button and call it get campaign level info. And what you want to do is first click on the purple node, and we want to make one input of type name, and I call it level name, and then we want to make two outputs by clicking the plus sign. First output is called level name, set to type text. The second output is level image, and we're going to make it of type texture 2D. Once you have that created, you can start here by right click and type get data table row, and it'll create this node, and then you just pick the campaign level data table that we just created right here in the drop down, connect in this purple pinkish pin here to the row name. We're going to add our return node to the row found pin. So if the row is found, then you just take the out row and you type in break, and it breaks the campaign level results like this. And then you just connect in the name and the image into the return node like that. Now I added a return node down here. I just copied this one and pasted it down here, and I've connected it into the row not found, and I typed in myself, I just typed in error level row name incorrect, and you can assign it I assigned it this blood color, just a red texture that I had used for my blood splatter image. Basically, you should never see this should never run unless you mistyped the name of your level in that data table that we just created. Remember I said you have to manually type in the names of your levels? So if your name is level 1 and you typed in level J1 and you accidentally hit the J key, then this would run because there's no such thing as level J1, and you would have to go back into this data table and you'd be like, oh crap, I spelled it wrong, and you would just change it to Arena 01 instead of Arena J1 or whatever you accidentally typed. So that's just like a backup use case for you. So if you accidentally have a mistype, that will help you notify you of what you did wrong. So now that you've created that, let's also go ahead and make another function here. We'll click this button, and I'm going to call it load campaign unlocked levels. We're going to open it up, and just like we did in part 2, you're going to have to use this node called does save game exist, drag off of this pink pin and create a local variable, promote to local variable. I called it campaign save, and make sure you set campaign save as the default value, and it has to be spelled exactly the same as it was inside the save campaign level. So if you want to open up save campaign level and copy this name and go back to your load campaign unlocked levels and paste it in there so you know that it's typed the exact same way, go for it. But it has to be spelled in the exact same way. So once you have that, you can start. So we have the does save game exist, you do a branch off of the true, you just load game from slot, you plug in the variable into this node, drag off cast to campaign save, drag off of it to get the all unlocked levels, and then you need a return node. So if you click back here at the start right here, you can click the plus sign down here on output, and we're going to call it all unlocked levels of type name, and then click the button right here and change it to an array. And that will give you this return node that you can plug in at the end right here and hook up the all unlocked levels. So now that we have these functions created, all the work is done in these functions, and you can call these functions from anywhere in your game, which is pretty awesome. So we never have to rewrite all of this loading and saving logic over and over and over. Because trust me, you just did it. If you followed all that stuff and you don't want to have to do that and 5 different blueprints 3 different times. So now we can just call these. So I'm going to save, compile, and save. I'm going to close that, and let's see. Let's hop into the, well, let's do one more thing first. We're going to make an actual button, meaning like the button, a widget button. So right click, and we need a new widget blueprint. So user interface, widget blueprint, and I called it campaign level button underscore WB for widget blueprint. So if you open it up, you have to design it first, and if you want to do it the easy way, I'll show you what I speed it up for you if you want to just keep it all the same. So we'll go to HGT, we'll go to widgets, we'll go to UI, we'll go to lobby, we'll go to map selection, we'll go to the designer tab, and it looks like this. I'm just gonna copy one of these, so like map 1 button. We'll like select map 1 button and the text that goes with it. You can hold down control and select both, and then you can just copy these, right click, copy. We go back to our campaign level button, and we want to first add a size box. You just type in size box right here, drag it in down here, and then once you have it dragged in, you can paste. And once you paste, it will look like this. You'll have the level select and the text, but also click on size box and check the 2 boxes here that say width and height override. Width of 500, height override of 55. You can change those to whatever you want, but that's what looked decent to me. And let's see, with that done, you might have to align some stuff here, like click the actual button. I changed the name of it. I called it level select button. So instead of map 1 button, change the name to level select button, and make sure the is variable is checked here, the checkbox. And I made it stretch, fill horizontally and fill vertically. And then for the actual text, I just put level name here because we're going to change it dynamically. So now that we have, this is just a button. Oh, and if yours is the widget is weird up here on the top right, you can change it to desired instead of fill screen, because by default yours will probably look like this. Change it to desired. That way it'll be the size of an actual button. So we can save that, and we need to do some logic inside as well. So let's go to the graph inside of this button, and what we want to do is under the event construct, we want to set the text. So let's see, the level text block, which is, that's what I named the text. So this red text here, I had called it level text block. I renamed it up here, and I made sure it's called a variable too, or check the box for is variable. And what you want to do is you want to click it, go to the graph, and over on the left hand side it'll say level text block. Drag it out like this, and then you can drag off of it and say set text. And you want the one down at the bottom that says set text with the parentheses text. Actually, no, you don't want that. You want set text. I guess you can do context like that. And then you just plug it in. Yeah, that's how you do it. Okay. Either one I think would work, but you could do set text under the context, or you can do the one down here on widget. Either one will work. But you want to promote this to the pink value to a variable. Promote to variable. I called it level display text. And what we want to do is when you click on it over here in the details panel in the bottom left, you want to check the box for instance editable and also expose on spawn, and then hook that into the construct event here. And let's see, we're also going to need a few more other things. So you're going to need like the, let's see, create a variable and call it let me see here. Pull it up just so it's quicker. Just pay no attention to what I'm doing for just a second. It's up here where I add these. So we need the text that we just did. We need the image, the index, and the map selection widget. So create a variable here and call it level image, and change it to type texture 2D. And just in case you got lost, we're still inside this button here that we just made. So you're creating a variable, we're calling it level image texture 2D, and check the box for instance editable and expose on spawn. Then click the plus sign to create another variable called level index, and it's set to a type of integer, and also check the box for instance editable and expose on spawn. And then we need to create one more variable and call it map selection widget ref, which stands for reference. And I changed it to map selection, which is actually the name of the widget that we're using to select the thing, the change the levels on. So it'll come up map selection like this, and you click object reference. And you also want to check instance editable and expose on spawn. Once you've done all that, we can drag the map selection widget reference into the level like this, and it'll look like that, and we can start doing some work. So we got to create these two events here. So if we go back to the designer page, click on the level select button, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and on these events you have an on clicked. You want to click that one, and it'll create this for you. And you want to go back to the designer page and scroll down again and click on hovered. When you click that one, it'll create this for you. And you want to drag off. Now we can actually hook up the logic. So this is the on hovered. Make sure you don't get these two confused, because that wouldn't be good. So we'll do on hovered first. On hover, you want to drag off of the map selection widget, and we need to create a hover event. We don't have that yet. Okay. Never mind. We'll do the on click first. Drag off of, on the on click event, drag off of the map selection widget and type in accept map change, and you'll get this. And then you'll hook it up, and that will be the select map event. We got to go create this one before we can hook it up. So now that we have that done, let's go. I'll show you how to do it. So it's under HGT, it's under widgets, it's under UI, it's under lobby, and then it's the map selection widget here. We open it up. The widget looks like this. What we want to do is we want to create an event called level hover event. So just right click, custom event, call it level hover event, and it's got 3 inputs on it. So if you go to the bottom left on here in the details, you can click the plus sign here 3 times. First one is called temp map ID, and it's set to type integer. Second is called temp displayed map of texture 2D. Just move it out there. And the third one is temp displayed map name of type text. You can name these whatever you want, as long as they're set to the right variable types. And then we have to set up some stuff here. So we want to just right click and type in set temp map ID, and it will give you this node, connect it up. Right click, set temp displayed map, connect it up to like this, and then set displayed map, and you can connect it up to the temp displayed map like that. And set temp displayed map name, connect it up just like this. And then right click and say get map preview text, and it'll give you this blue node, or you can also find it over here probably. It's somewhere in all that map preview text. There it is. You can drag it in and just say get like that. Drag off set text, It's at the very bottom. Gives you this node, and then you plug in the right click and say get temp displayed map name, plug it in. And that will give you this new hover event. So now that we have created that, you could compile and save, and you can go back to your campaign level button that we were working on earlier. And on that on hover event that we were working on, or we're going to, you can now you can take the map selection widget reference, drag off, and type in level hover event, and it'll give you this node. And then you can connect up the variables that we created. So level index goes into the temp map ID, level image goes into the temp displayed map, and level display text goes into the temp displayed map name. So that when you have that, that will give you the level hover event. So once we have all that done, that should be it for our button, hopefully. Now we could go back to the map selection widget, this one right here. We'll go into the graph, and I commented and made this one called new hover event. We need to come to the right here. It says setting default info upon event construct. It's the event construct event. We're gonna redo. Yours isn't gonna look like this because I'm already finished mine. You can see where I've disconnected some stuff. So what I'm just gonna walk you through it step by step. So first you want to right click, type in load campaign level, load campaign level, and it'll pull up our campaign function library. You want to click on load campaign level, but the problem is yours isn't going to look like this, and I forgot to show you that. So let's go back and I'll show you how to do it. We'll go to HGT, we'll go to blueprints, we'll go to campaign function library, we'll open it back up and load campaign level. What you want to do is pull up the function, click the purple tab, and on the right hand side there's a checkbox for pure. You want to check that. And save campaign level, we will leave it unchecked. Get campaign level info, we're going to check the box for it to make it pure. And the load campaign unlocked levels, we're going to check and make it pure. So all of them are going to be checked for pure except for the save campaign level. We're going to leave that one unchecked. So now that you've made them all pure except for the save campaign level, you can go back to this map selection widget here, and when you right click and type load campaign, you'll get this node instead of the one with pins on it. It'll give you this pure function node. And you can right click and type get campaign level info, and it'll give you this node, and then you just hook these two together, and then you can just right click. Well, you should have these nodes already here. You can just connect it up. So like, let me move it so you can see it. The level image goes into displayed map. Level name goes into the displayed map name. If you don't have these two here already, you can just right click and say set displayed map, set it, and same with this one. And you won't have this yet, I don't believe, but you will have this. So go ahead and take this. We're not using these two. Move these out the way. What you want is to just, if you move down right here, you'll see where we have the cast the lobby game mode and server update game settings. You could just copy this right here and just paste it and then connect it up. So then it'll look just like I have it right here. We don't need these. Clean it up for you. So that will give you this part, but we haven't made this event that I have stuck up here yet called add all level buttons. And what I'm going to do with that is we're just going to come up here and like up above the event construct, I just right clicked, I created a new custom event, and I call it add all level buttons, and I just first I get data table row names, and for the drop down you put campaign levels, our data table for campaign levels, and then you do a for each loop for all these rows, and you set the map ID. Just right click and say set map ID to the array index here. And let's see. Actually, I don't even think you need to do that. No, you don't need to do that. Let's see here. So then, I mean, I'll leave it. It's not going to hurt anything, but you don't have to do that. We'll leave it. So on the for each loop, you want to create campaign level button widget blueprint. So I think you just type in create widget like this, and then you just select the campaign level button widget blueprint, and it gives you this node. And then you have to connect everything up. So if you drag off of, well, if you right click and type get campaign level info, it'll give you this nice function. You connect that into the for each loop right here, and then you plug in the level name into the level display text, the level image into the level image. You're going to have to right click and type get player controller to plug into the only player. You have to right click and say get map ID to plug into the level index here, and then you just right click and type self and plug it into the map selection widget reference. Make sure you plug in all those correctly, and if you do, then you can come over here and you can drag off and you type set padding, and it gives you this node, and you can drag off of that and type make margin, and it gives you this node, and I just did a bottom margin of 10 to give a space of 10 units in between each widget button that we're about to create. Then once you got that, you can drag off of this. No, you can let's see, go back to the designer page, and you need this map list vertical box. When you click it, it's called maps list vertical box. You'll see it puts a green around it, so you know you're on the right one. Make sure it's set to is variable. I can't remember if it is or if it's not. Make sure it is. And then you can drag it into your graph, get it, looks like this, and you can drag off and say add child. Gives you this node, and then you just plug in the return value here into the add child, and it will add that, and then that will add all of our levels. But now we have to do one more thing. So before we get into all that, so by default I was manually, before we would just manually add our level buttons here, level button 1, 2, 3. Well, we're not going to do that anymore. So they're all going to just pull from this data table. It's going to pull all of your levels, and it's just going to spit them all into here for you. And that means we don't need these that are already in here. So you can either delete these, or in the case of my example, I didn't want to have to delete all the code that goes with it. So I just selected each button by holding down left control, and you can click each button. Then you come over here on the right, and under visibility, or you can just search for visibility, I set them to collapsed, meaning they're hidden and collapsed in the game, not seen. So compile and save. If you really want to test it, you can hit play, and when you hit change level, it will pull all of your maps, and it'll throw them in this list here for you. So then that means if you ever wanted to add a chapter 4 or chapter 5, all you'd have to do is come into here, and if I duplicate this, and I call this one Arena 4, and I change it to a weird texture. Then when we go into the game, you can see it's pulled up another chapter down here, but I didn't change the actual name. Change the name to Chapter 4 Test. Save and play. There it is, Chapter 4 Test. So what I'm saying is your data table now controls all of your levels. You don't have to do it anywhere else. You can just come in here and add and tweak your level images, names, whatever you want. So now that we have that, we need to make these buttons actually enable and disable, where you can't select the ones that you haven't played or beat yet. So where were we at? We were just at this add all level buttons. Oh, right after we do the for each loop, where we did all this logic, off of the completed, we need to run a new custom event. I called it load campaign level buttons. So right click, create a new event called load campaign level buttons, and then you call it off of this completed tab. And what we're going to do in this is we're going to right click, get that node called load campaign unlocked levels, and I created a new variable called, I just drug off of it and promoted it to a variable, called it all unlocked levels, and it's set to type name and it's an array. And then we do a we get the map list vertical box. So right click and just type maps list vertical box, drag off of it, get all children, and then drag off of that and do a for each loop. And then you drag off of this blue pen and you cast to campaign level button, and then you drag off of it and get the level select button. And we are going to need to create another array. So I right clicked, or not right clicked, I added a new variable up here. You click the plus sign and it is set to type button, and then I changed it to an array right here. And now you can take this new variable, you can drag off and type add, it gives you this node, and then you just connect the level select button into this add node. And then you can drag off of the level select button and type set is enabled to false. Now what this means, if you don't know what's happening, is we are taking all of the levels in our list here, all the levels that get created, all these buttons, all these level buttons get created. And what we're going to do is we're going to just disable all of them initially. Turn them off where you can't click them, right? Then once you've done that, off of the complete, we're going to take this all unlock level, create a for each loop, and then you take the level button array and you get a copy, you plug in the array index, and then you just set it to is enabled, but you check the box this time to true. And what that is going to do is it's going to take all of the levels that you've unlocked. So let's say out of the 3 levels, you've only unlocked level 1 and 2. It's going to take level 1 and 2, and it's going to find those 2 buttons that correspond with it, and it's going to enable them. And it'll let you pick them, but it won't let you pick level 3. And that's what that's going to do. So now that you have that all set up, we just have to connect it up back down here at the event construct. So right after you set the display map and the name, you want to call the add all level buttons. Then you connect into the cast to lobby GM and it calls this. So, I know it seems like a lot, but I think we're about there. So now we have all that set up. Now everything loads, everything saves. We do need to tweak a couple little things inside this actual map selection widget here. So by default, let's see, this big section here, where it says text block and then the white picture. Click on the white picture. It's called map preview image. We want to change this brush to, you click this little button here and you remove the binding, and then click it again and change it to displayed map. It's down here under properties. Just click displayed map. That'll change that so it will show up correctly. And then text block, you click that. We want to make sure it's set to displayed map name for its text. And what else is there? believe that was it. We set up all that. We set up all that. Okay. Everything looks good. So now when you go into the game, you should be able to change the level and it will procedurally load all of your levels. And then when you hover over these, make sure that it works. Like you hover over chapter 1 and it actually says chapter 1 and has the correct picture. Hover over chapter 2 and it updates correctly as well. And then when you click it, it updates back here for everyone as well too. So that pretty much covers a lot. I think that's the majority of all of it. Now you can save levels and continue where you left off. I know this was probably a really long video, I apologize, but I hope that helps. Get you on the right track for your campaign. I know you probably have, everyone watching probably has all kinds of different games and ideas, and you probably want your game to do this and do that, blah, blah, blah. I hope this gets you on the right track for all those cool ideas that you got. And thanks for watching.